Chapter 17. Adulting Issues. Trust fund. Noun. Definition. A system that holds assets on behalf of someone else, managed by a neutral third party called a trustee. These assets in the trust fund can be real estate, bonds, stocks, money, a company, or a combination of these. Use. Azikwe left a trust fund for his children. This story is an oldie but a goodie. I don't typically go home for New Year celebrations, but I decided to visit home last New Year just to say hello. Even though the whole world knows me as Okwe of Kari Wise, I'm still the family's baby who they can never get tired of seeing. Also, my village people were already saying I was beginning to carry shoulder, so I thought to silence them with a visit. And really, it was fun. It had been a while since I was in the midst of so many people. Nephews, nieces, cousins I didn't even know that I had, aunties and uncles that knew me before my right hand touched my left ear. And there were some people who were not in any bracket. We called them aunties and uncles, but we all knew they were not related to us in any way. Some even had names attached to cities. Uncle Kano, Auntie Lori. Imagine that kind of thing. It was really a grand reunion. One of the things that stands such reunions out, the kind of stories you get from there. And when it comes to stories, my ears are always open. First, I got an update on Auntie Shade's third marriage, which, thankfully, had not ended in tears. I would be pained if it actually did. Thankfully, that's not the case now. They're still as strong as ever. When we got to my uncle, we call him Big Daddy actually, things got intense. Everyone had been saying just the happy things, but Uncle came up with his challenge. His kids had been sent home again. School fees palaver. To be honest, I did not know that this was still a thing, sending kids home because they could not pay school fees. I thought schools had found a better way of ensuring that parents paid up their kids' school fees without embarrassing children for their parents' offense. When it was my turn to tell stories of what was happening in my life, I didn't even know what to say. It was not that there was nothing to say, frankly. I had just gotten distracted by Big Daddy's out-of-school children. Truly, I could never imagine that I had a family member whose children were contributing to the country's out-of-school children statistics. I was lost in an alternate world. I imagined what the world would look like if we started planning for our kids' education before their birth, or even before couples get married. Hear me out first. The general idea we have when preparing for marriage is usually the wedding, getting a space, car, and stuff to put in the house. But what if we think and plan for our kids too, that same way? I'm not talking about what their names or what color their toys will be. I'm talking about their education here. What if we weave school fees into our marriage and parenting plans? I know it's not easy. I mean, there's just so much we can focus on at a time. And as humans, we're socially conditioned to always focus on the most immediate and pressing challenge, while pushing the seemingly distant ones away. I think this is why most of us get into trouble. Those who want to fall in love and get married know they will spend a lot of money, and the money will not fall from the sky, so it's all right to start planning towards it. The same goes for those who want to have kids. And hey, I know I talk a lot about savings and investment, but fam, the watchword here is plan, save, and invest. We need to start planning for marriage and parenting in a proper manner. And the thing is, those who are already parents know what I'm talking about. Nothing hits harder than knowing that while other people's kids are learning, yours are under the tree in front of the principal's office, kneeling down, eyes closed, because of school fees. I'm not going to pretend as if I have the solution to this big problem, but hey, we can do something. One of the things I've realized since I started taking my money game seriously is that with financial literacy, you can always do better. We can always do better. Even with our kids' education, if we plan well. One great way to do this is through an education trust fund. I'm not Dangote. I can't create an education trust fund for my kids, you say. I hear you, but relax. Don't let the phrase trust fund scare you. You don't need to be a billionaire to create your own trust fund. I think an education trust fund can work for people like Big Daddy. A trust fund is a system you put in place to hold assets on behalf of someone else. These assets in the trust fund can be real estate, bonds, stocks, money, a company, or any type and combination of assets. This is then managed by a neutral third party called a trustee. Education trust funds are also a good way of preparing for uncertainties like loss of life. You don't want your kids begging when you're no longer around. When you set up an education trust fund for them, you're ensuring that their education is taken care of, if anything ever happens to you. You don't have to be on the Forbes list or to be the richest to provide for your children when you're no longer around. It's just a matter of planning. Something as thoughtful as starting a savings plan for your kids now can be a trust fund for them. Let's say you're not married or with kids yet. Just imagine how much money you would have by the time you have children. Your kids won't even be out of school for a day. That day at the family reunion, I fell for Big Daddy. I fell for him and the kids big time. Me, I didn't share any story. Later that day, I started an education trust fund for my kids using an automated savings plan on Cowrywise. You can never be too early with planning, right? That's what I thought too. Love, Okpe.